Welcome, you guys, to Tuesday Notary Titans. It's August 11th, and we are so glad that you are here with us this afternoon. Let's talk about the importance of this call. But first, sorry, I'm tap dancing. Can you tell? I wanted to get my notes open. First, I want to say welcome to everybody who's joining us on YouTube Live. Thanks for being here. And if you're joining us for the replay, we are so glad you're catching up with us after the fact. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. If you are new here, you just found one of the best hours that you can spend in on your notary business all week. And if you're a regular, welcome back. You already know what kind of shenanigans you've signed up for today. TNT has been showing notaries every Tuesday since 2018, showing up for notaries since 2018, every single Tuesday. This is the place to bring your questions, your weird signing situations, your business challenges, and those what the heck do I do now moments. Whether you've been commissioned for 20 minutes or 20 years, you belong here. So grab your coffee, raise your hand, and let's talk all things notary. Welcome to TNT. It is an Ask Me Anything style call where no questions are off limits. Questions may or may not be answered if you put them in the chat. We're going to give priority to those folks who raise their hands. And you can find the raised hand feature at the very bottom of your Zoom screen. Also, be sure you check the chat for any announcements or speaker information or room etiquette rules, things like that, that we need to share with you, including links to any upcoming events. But first, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jen Neitzel. I am the author of On the Move, the creator of the 5-Point Marketing System, the co-creator of the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent Program, and very proud co-host of Tuesday Notary Titans. And I am joined every week by the 2026 Notary of the Year. Woo woo, Laura Biewer. Hey, Laura.
Hi. I hope
How's your day
everybody's having
today?
a good day. Mine is super fantastic.
Good. I love when you say that. Oh shoot. Guys, I accidentally just
Somebody in?
I let the iPhone in. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
iPhone, we're gonna kick you back out. You need to change your um yeah, thank you, Matt.
Name.
Okay.
What's your name? All
And
right.
we are supported on this call every single week by the president of the California League of Independent Notaries, Mr. Matt Miller. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, Jen. It's a great day in the Bay. Looking forward to today's call.
Aren't we always looking forward to
Yeah.
TNT? Guys, as everybody's coming in the room, getting settled, we start off by doing some announcements. It just gives us a minute to let you guys know what's going on in the broader notary community, and it gives us a few minutes to allow more friends to join us in the room. If you have not gotten a copy of Laura's new book, you need to get it. Laura, tell us why.
Well, if you have been doing notarizations for any amount of time, you will know that you cannot run and hide from vulnerable signers. They are everywhere. Now, I focus this book on the environments you're most likely to encounter them, such as hospitals, hospice, homebound signings. However, you will find them in loan signing appointments, you'll find them in estate planning assignments, you'll find them in general notary work appointments, everywhere. And so this is the book that can help you know what to do when you're surprised. It
Mhm.
can also help you know how to plan just in case it happens. And it gives you a great framework for a strong intake process. So, with all that said, this is the tool you need if you're going to do this kind of work.
Absolutely. Check that out for sure, guys. If you are looking for a marketing plan, I have a book for you. It's called On the Move. Matt is going to put the link in the chat. It's going to explain that 5-point marketing system I'm always talking about and how you can begin building relationships with folks in your community and start having a little more control over that business of yours. Now, you know, Laura and I are the co-creators of the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent Program. This is the hottest thing in the notary world right now. We have our next free webinar about the estate planning opportunity on Wednesday, September 16th at 11 a.m. Central. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And the link to get registered and get your link to join us is in the chat. Now, I want to remind everybody again, our friends over at the National Notary Association have asked us to report any special inquiries, suspicious inquiries that come from either of their directories, findanotary.com or signingagent.com, so that they can continue to identify and take appropriate steps to reduce the misuse of their platform. Let's talk about some notary conferences because we've got a few coming up, including one this weekend. And Laura, you and Matt are going to be there in the state. The state of Oregon is throwing a notary conference in Salem. The registration is 275. It includes lunch and dinner. The link is in the chat. But Laura, tell us what you guys are going to be talking about this weekend.
Well, I'll let Matt talk about what he's going to be doing there, but I'll be doing a workshop on handling vulnerable signers.
Mm, awesome. Matt, what are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be on a panel with other state association leaders. I'm going to be talking about what is harder for national associations versus associations to tackle. So it should be a great
Ooh,
conversation.
that'll be interesting. Yeah, that is this weekend, guys, in Salem, Oregon. If you can make it, get there. And there's another conference, Laura, that you're going to be a part of in Connecticut, September 23rd, at the Capitol. It's a free in-person event, and you can find the registration for the link at the link in the chat. Now, we want to remind everybody too, for our friends at the National Notary Association, that their 2027 conference is coming up May 23rd to the 25th in Hollywood, California, Bright Lights, Big City. There is a payment plan happening right now. It's effective through the end of October. If you want to register for a full conference pass or just the workshops only, you can do that at the link in the past. Take advantage of that payment plan that goes away at the end of October. Now, Laura, I would love for you to talk to us about the American Guild of Notaries Public and why that credentialing organization is so important.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to stand on my soapbox for a moment because, 50 states, we don't have 50 states with training. Unfortunately, there are a lot of states that you pay your fee and you're lucky if they have a handbook too. And so we are doing important work serving the public. And if we do the wrong things, we can be sued. So, and if we do the wrong things, some bad things can happen to people. Documents aren't accepted. So it's really important that even if you have some training, that you are competent at what you do. And that's what this organization does. It's not just a membership you pay and you're a member. This is something that you go through rigorous examination to verify that you are competent as a notary in your state. And there are different levels. There's apprentice for those who are starting out, all the way up through master. And so if that's something you want to verify for yourself, then I encourage you to go to their website. Is there a link for us to put in the chat?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's in there.
For
sorry
that,
there.
to help you on your journey.
Thank you. So important what they're doing. And lastly, just while we've got so many folks in the room right now, I just want to remind everybody on the Tuesday Notary Titans call, everyone needs to have a registered Zoom account. What that means is you need to have your Zoom account named first name or first name, last name, or first name and state. It comes default with iPhone if you're watching it on your phone, or it may say owner if you don't name it. There's instructions in the chat on how to do this. We will not let you in the room. You don't need to email me and say, Jen, you didn't let me in the room. I know you're sitting there, but we're giving you instructions on how to be allowed into the room. And also, those instructions are also now coming to you every week when you receive your reminder email if you need a little help getting those updated. The We are not trying to make your life more difficult or make you do one more thing. I just want to point out we have been hijacked before on a call, and it was not pleasant, and we want to keep that from happening again. So we appreciate you guys working with us on this new rule. Now, that said, you guys that are our regulars know the drill. You got to raise those hands to get your questions answered. So go ahead, raise your hands right now to get in line to have your questions answered. Let's see what we got from anybody this morning. Who's got, or this morning? Geez.
You know what? Even though her hand isn't up, I want to ask if she's willing. And that is Rwanda Rogers. I just
Oh.
helped her with
She
a
get called to the
certificate.
principal's office?
No, she was doing all the right things. And if you, I don't see her, I just see a picture, not her
R-
face. Rwanda
Rwanda?
May, are you available? She's muted, so she might not be available. She might have to just
Yeah.
listen. But I want to congratulate her on her follow through and verifying what to do in this particular situation. And she had a situation with a retirement form that had a notary certificate, and it said acknowledgement section. But when you read the certificate, it was something like um, this document signed before me. Okay. And she's in Nevada. That wording, even though it's called an acknowledgement, that is not an acknowledgement. What word is missing? The word acknowledgement. That's what makes it an acknowledgement. So she started finding out should I just replace this with an acknowledgement? The problem is that wording really describes a different act, signature witnessing. Not that it's the typical signature witnessing I normally would see. Nevada does not have signature witnessing as a notarial act. So that meant my recommendation and the NNA's is you cannot use this. You'll need to replace it, but you better find out with what. And that she's going to have to go back to the preparer of the document to find out what is the appropriate replacement. And of course, they may not know, and she can help them by describing the differences in the certificates. So, depending on what's important for the agency, then there's going to be a certificate that's going to support that. But, and then she followed up with me today. And what I love is that she saw there was an issue. She tried to break it down to see what it was saying. She wasn't sure if that was something she could perform. She was looking at her codes. She reached out, gave me the wording so I could take a look at it, and then followed up on my recommendations, which was double check with the NNA to make sure I haven't missed something, that is not on your list of authorized notarial acts, and then you can follow through. And I just want to say that took a lot more time than her just saying, "Oh, I'll just put an acknowledgement on it." But when she's done, she will have done the right thing. She can feel confident and sleep at night that
Yeah.
she used her notary skills and then her resources to help her do the right thing.
Well, let's give Rwanda some love there. Congratulations. That's awesome. It's not often Laura calls out somebody in that capacity. I have asked her to unmute, so she might be at her desk or something, but
Yeah, she could be
hopefully she's
busy.
able to see the screen that we're all showering with some love for her right now. But we have some questions on our form. So the
Okay.
first one I have is for Laura. This one's a good one. So let me get this moved so I can see here. All
Let me
right, Laura,
brace myself.
brace yourself. Yes. I'm a newly commissioned California notary, and I
Okay.
have a friend who's also California based who's about to take the 6 hour course and exam. She wasn't aware notaries could specialize and build a full-time income around it. She's especially drawn to estate planning work, which is personal and close to her heart. which often is, right? My question is for someone transitioning out of a full-time corporate career,
Mhm.
what's the realistic potential for success in this field? Is the market currently too saturated to break into, or is there still room to build a sustainable business?
So I think that's a really intelligent question to
It is.
ask if you're going to transition from corporate life to finding your own work, being self-employed. So I'm glad that it's being asked. First of all, if there's any way to transition, meaning don't drop your job and have no money and then get started becoming a notary to replace that, because it takes time. So if it's possible to take the exam and start getting training and preparing yourself for that line of work before you let go of what you currently have, that's the best possible story. Some people don't have that option. They were fired, they were laid off, and they're just like, oh, I got to do something now. The second thing is it too saturated? No, I don't think it's too saturated. If you asked me about it, I'm going to go do loan signings, I would have a different answer. And that answer is I think it's going to be difficult to replace your income doing loan signings because of its ups and downs. It's, following the market. And there are a lot of notaries who go into this business as being a notary for business for hire in that particular specialty. That specialty has got a lot more people than what it can support right now. And so what's happening is the prices are so many, people are desperate and they're accepting lower paying work. So now they're offering lower paying work. And so people are accepting even lower paying work. And it's like a race to the bottom.
Mhm.
So, one, I don't think any one specialty all by itself is your answer. You're going to want to diversify. But if you're going to look for something that will give you a good boost, I think estate planning is the one. And if you do what we say and build that foundation, you will have steady work, and plenty of it. Because a lot of notaries haven't decided to jump over yet. So it's still pretty open
Yeah.
in that area of
Yeah.
estate planning. So I
Yeah.
think, yes, you can replace your income. Yes, estate planning is the right place to jump into.
Mhm.
And if you can have a transition plan, because it's going to take time, you'll start making money, but probably take you a year to 18 months to replace it and
Yeah.
make more, but
Yeah.
it can be done.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. And yeah, we're big believers in telling the truth here, and it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't happen. But the estate planning opportunity is so much greater right now than
Yeah.
what is available in the loan signing world with everything happening there. So I think it's a great transition for a new notary. So thank you for asking that. Do we have any? Buddy in the audience who wants to raise their hand and ask us a question before I go to the next form question. Anybody? All right. Matt, this next one is for you. Um, Wait, hold on. I'm trying to decide which one because there's a couple of good ones here.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with this one because I've always actually wondered this myself. How does the California League of Independent Notaries decide which fights to pick? And how can a notary in another state plug into similar efforts?
That's a really good question, and
That
I
is.
appreciate this question being asked. Um, Basically, any kind of policy proposal or bill proposal that will directly affect notaries and or the constituents that they serve is worth taking a look at. Sometimes they're good. They're notary friendly, they're consumer friendly, and we want to support those efforts. Sometimes they're not so good, and sometimes we need to suggest amendments or get in there and tweak things, or sometimes form a coalition to just kill it outright because it's just might have sounded good to somebody somewhere, but it's just not practical. And a great way for notaries in other states to get involved is if your state has a local organization like the CLAN or the PAN in Pennsylvania or the NYMNA in New York and several others, plug into those organizations. They often send out newsletters and have websites and blog articles and things like that kind of tell you what's going on. If your state doesn't have, and there's quite a few that don't, monitor your state's legislative website to see what kind of bills are being proposed and talked about amongst the legislature. And you can search for terms like notary public or notaries or notarization and see what you get. And then you'll have to read them and see if they make sense to you or not. And if they are good, you can certainly make your voice heard on that by sending a letter or showing up and giving testimony at hearings. And if they're bad, you can reach out to your state representatives and tell them why they're bad. But you can't just complain about it. You got to offer a solution. So tell them what's wrong with it and how you can fix it, and your voice can go a long, long way. But that's a great question. Yeah, we certainly don't monitor every single bill in the legislature. I mean, gosh, in California alone, every single year, some 3 to 4 thousand bills are introduced, and that's just impossible. So we narrow it down to things that are going to affect notaries and the consumers that they serve.
Thank you.
You're
Excellent
welcome.
answer. I love it. Jerry's got her hand up though. Jerry, remind us what state you're in and tell us what your question is.
I'm in Northern Virginia.
All right. What can we do for you?
So my question is, once you get your ctDNA seal,
Uh-huh.
is there like a portal or something you can go to where you can like sign up so that you can get some will and trust
For
work like
yourself?
it like yeah for like you do with loan signing?
Like you do with loan signings.
Yeah, the idea like
Wait,
signing services, or is
is
Signing
that
that what
what
you're
you're
asking?
services.
talking
Oh.
about?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, there's a few signing services that are dabbling in estate
Unlimited
planning.
ink.
Unlimited Ink, I would say would be the biggest one. That is Notary Stars is Unlimited Ink. And I think that there are I know that there are definitely other people, other signing services that are looking at bringing on estate planning clients and are looking into the CNTDA program to allow them to do that. But no, we don't have a directory. If is that what you're asking, if we have a directory for
Yes.
you to use? Yeah.
Yes.
No, we don't offer a directory. We are not teaching you how to, you already know how to sign up for signing services and wait for that business to come in. Like you know how to do, we don't need to teach you how to do that.
Right.
What we are teaching you how to do is, and I love how Laura says it, teaching you how to fish instead of giving you a fish. We're teaching you how to build inside the program. It's not just about the documents, it's also about learning how to build relationships with business owners in your community so that you aren't dependent on signing services and you can use them as backfill.
But I do want to add that directories, which is really visibility,
Hmm.
it is important. And Find a Notary is that kind of directory. And there are other directories where you can indicate that you have a specialty,
Yeah.
right? And so any directory that you're going to use, if they allow you to put, I'm a loan signing agent, I'm a trust delivery agent, I specialize in hospitals. Those are the directories that you want to list yourselves on.
Just another thought to consider is there's a big difference between loan signings and estate plan delivery. Loan signings, lenders, title companies, they don't care who the notary is; they just want to get it done. But
Hmm.
when it comes to estate planning, attorneys do care who the notary is. And so I don't really see the estate planning delivery business ever being as dominated by signing services that loan signing has been in the past. So I think that you're more um, it's more advantageous to work with attorneys directly, do the direct relationship building that Jen and Laura are teaching you, and I think that you'll be glad you did. I know I am. I have about a half a dozen attorneys that I work directly with, and they keep me very, very busy, and they don't want anybody else. If I'm not available, they reschedule because you are an extension of their firm, and they take that much more seriously than in the loan signing world.
Yeah, excellent, excellent point. They worked hard for those customers, those
Yeah.
attorneys did, and they're not willing. It's not like in the title world where they just, like you said, will send out whoever answers the text first. They want to know that the person sitting in front of their client is being taken care of properly, right? There's not going to be any errors down the road. So excellent, excellent point, Matt. Thanks for that. Our friend Jeanette in Michigan has her hand up. Hey, Jeanette.
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
Back to that conversation. Hi, how you doing? Back to that conversation about the legislative, the laws and stuff. In Michigan, we cannot accept um, IDs that's even 1 day old.
Mhm.
That can be very challenging because a lot of times I'm with, older patients that have been bedridden for, X amount of years, and they have expired license, sometimes for years. Matt, do you think that's something that is worth looking into in Michigan?
Yes, I think reasonable accommodations for
Yeah.
signers of all kinds is certainly necessary. However, you have a backup mechanism in Michigan. You can use a single credible witness under Michigan Law 55285, or you can use personal knowledge is also acceptable in Michigan. We're very much in the same situation here in California. We can't use an expired ID that was issued more than 5 years ago. And most IDs are outside of that window anyway. So it does become challenging, but we also have credible witnesses available in California as well. You should really consider reaching out to Leslie Hawker at the Michigan Notary
Yeah.
Association. She is very much on top of these things
Yes.
and is very much connected with the legislature, and I believe is going to be introducing a package of bills next year. So I'm going to put her link in the chat, and I encourage you to connect with her.
Okay, thank you. If I'm not mistaken, and I thought for the credible witness in Michigan, the witness has to be known to the notary and the person.
That
Am
is
I
that is my
getting that
understanding as
right?
well.
So do they, for
Yeah.
one, Matt, do they allow for two that the notary doesn't know, or they're just only allowed the one? Because that is challenging to, when you don't know the signer, you're probably not going to know their friends either.
Right.
Correct.
So
Right.
I'm looking at the law right now. I don't want to take everyone's time up. I have to read this, but I will put it in the chat for you. If I remember correctly, the last time I looked at this, they only allow for one, but let me just verify that.
Yeah, just see if it says
Okay,
one
thank you.
personally known or presented with ID,
Mhm.
if it's an or statement or just personally known. Sometimes they
Okay, thank
catch
you.
us. You're welcome.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thank you for that question. Alicia, she figured out how to raise her hand. She's got a question for us. Hey, girl, what can we do for? Tell us where you're calling from.
Hi, yes, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for taking me on. Just real quick, I am very, very new. This
Mhm.
would actually be my first notary, so I'm first trying to gather all my
Exciting.
ducks in a row, trying to get as much information as possible.
Mhm.
You guys
Sure.
have been very great and helpful, taking a lot of notes. So this question came up with a family. Obviously, sometimes it starts that way. And so they are in Texas, and it's like an agreement contract, buyer and seller type of document. And so my question is, can they sign the document in their state, send it to me to have the buyer sign in front of me being the notary? So I would be signing for the buyer, not necessarily for my
Yeah.
family that they're in Texas. And can there be two notaries in that document? Okay.
Absolutely. Many times we have split signings where people are in different states and one signs the document gets forwarded to the next place. That person meets with a notary, and there's multiple certificates that
Okay.
belong to the document. Mhm.
Awesome. And I kind of knew, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure, I was like, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to
Yes,
ask, I'm going to go, I'm going to chime in and ask because my family
beautiful.
did question and say, can there be a conflict of interest? And I'm like, based on my knowledge, I know
No.
if I'm correct, I won't be able to sign for them, correct? If I was there in
Well,
the,
it depends. Usually we just don't notarize for family members because you just never know. But because it has to do with the document and whether or not you would have any opportunity to benefit from it. A good rule of thumb is don't do it for family.
okay, that's
But
what I
you're not
thought.
notarizing for family. In this case, you're notarizing for somebody else.
Even though they're just to make sure, even though they're both parties are in the document,
Yeah, doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. They're having their own separate certificate. Okay. Just want to make sure, like I said, I'm fairly new. This is all new to me, and I want to make sure I get it correct the first
Mhm.
time.
That is
Sure,
exactly what this call is for. We're glad to be able to help and participate. So good
Awesome.
luck.
Thank
Come
you
yeah.
back and
so
let us
much.
know how it goes.
Thanks.
You got it. All right, guys, who else wants to raise their hand? Go ahead and do that now. I am going to get a question from our list, and this one is right up Laura Biewer's alley. Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Okay. Laura always knows how to handle touchy subjects with grace and dignity. And I think this is something that a lot of notaries right now are dealing with, Laura, because fees everywhere for everything are going up. But the question is, what's the best way to raise my notary fee without losing clients?
Mm.
Afraid of upsetting clients. So
That
what?
is a really great question, and I think something that notaries are struggling with.
Yeah.
Um, One is, and of course, I think there's a lot of ways, and I think you and Matt can add to this as well. I don't make a big deal about raising my fees. Whatever's the next assignment, that's the new fee. And if
Mhm.
they, now I'm careful, I don't have giant jumps in fees. If they ask me about it, then I can say, yeah, that's my fee now. I've had people that I've had for a long time, and I don't notarize for them all the time, but maybe 6 months later, maybe it's a year later, my fee has changed. I've never had a complaint about my fee changing because guess what? Fees have gone up for everything else for them as well. So they get it. I've got to be able to accommodate the increasing cost for me to do business as a mobile notary. So I don't make a big announcement of, oh, by the way, I've raised my fees and here's why. I don't
Yeah.
feel the need to justify it. These are my fees based on what I think is reasonable to charge for my service.
Yeah.
And I don't, unless somebody asks me to explain it, I'm not going to offer that right up front. It's just what it is.
I agree with you. I don't think it's necessary I mean, I know some people feel like they need to, it makes them feel better, that they need to inform their clients that they're raising their rates. But I agree. I don't know that it's necessary. And if someone questions the rates, then I
Yeah.
think that's where the conversation begins of, yes, you may have noticed they've gone up, but I think it's a business decision on
Uh-huh.
do you create some kind of notification for everybody on your
Yeah.
contact list? But Matt, what do you say?
Yeah, and you know what? California notaries are going to be facing this in the next several months because our fee cap has gone up effective January 1. And, there's a few ways to go about this. I mean, if you do want to alert your clients, I intend on doing so. I'm going to start sending out emails in November and letting people know this is coming, guys. This law has changed.
Regulars.
This
Mhm.
is this is what it's about. This is how much
So
it is.
I look at that a little differently though, Matt, because that's like a statewide thing that everybody does need
Well,
to
let
know
me finish.
about. Yeah.
Let me finish because you can blame the state, right?
Yeah.
The state did this, not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yep, you can blame the state for it. But ultimately, you want to continue to emphasize your commitment to them, your service, your accuracy,
Right.
your professionalism. All of that's not going to change.
Yeah.
But you might, your rates might go up a little bit beginning at the beginning of the year. So I think getting ahead of it is a good idea. And I think focusing on the value you bring to them will help them swallow that rate increase a little easier. And if someone is going to nickel and dime you over, say, a $5 increase, then maybe that customer isn't for you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's somebody else out there
Exactly.
waiting to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would would love to. I know it's hard right now because everything's so expensive, but I would love to see notaries step out from behind this idea that you have to be the cheapest in the room to get hired for something. That is not necessarily the case. Amy has a question. Amy, let us know what state you're calling from and what
Yeah,
your question is.
yeah, I'm calling from Georgia. I want
Okay,
to find out which of them is more viable between estate planning and apostle notarization if I want to add something else to my loan signing business.
great
Yeah, I'd be
question,
adding both.
Laura.
I would
Both.
add both. They're both very lucrative types of business, and it's not an or. I would do both of them.
Hmm.
If you can
There,
only afford to invest in one, I do estate planning because I think you'll get more of that steady
Hmm.
than the depending on if you have a location that lends itself for apostille or you've got connections with populations that need apostille work, then go that way first. But if you don't, then I would start with estate plan and then move on. But
Yeah.
ultimately, you want both.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Matt, do you have anything you want to add to that one?
they kind of can complement one another because
Also, that's
sometimes estate planning attorneys are dealing with families that have property overseas, and when someone dies, that's a whole process. And those documents are going to need to be apostilled, including those death certificates, and you can handle that for them.
right.
Yeah, and I think the only advice I would give is it's really hard. Like if you have to learn from the beginning the apostille
Yeah,
facilitation process and the estate planning process,
that's
I
a bit
think you
much.
just pick one and start with that for a few months and learn about it and start to build it and grow it and develop your relationships and then pick up the other one. I wouldn't try and do them both at the same
Yeah.
time just because it's such a heavy learning curve for both of them. And yeah, I mean, I think that pick one thing to start with and learn. And then once you've got that mastered, move on to the other thing. It's way too hard to do two at a time, in my opinion, but everybody's different.
In the
Everybody's different.
learning curve. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah,
different.
I've been doing the estate planning notarization, but I
Mhm.
haven't like set out on my own, and I don't have those relationships with the attorney in my state. But I do it through the portal every now and again. So I want to really dive into it and see how it goes.
And that's the way to do it, right? To dive
Yeah.
in and see what you can do because until you take those steps, right? You don't know. You've got to get out there and do it and start building those relationships. But let it keep us posted on what you decide to do and how it's going, Amy, okay?
Will do. I just signed up for the September class.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will see you there
Okay.
September 16th. Yeah, thank
Yes, I
you.
just did that. All right.
Awesome. We'll see you there.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right, guys, who else wants to raise their hand and ask a question? Did you notice how many folks are on the call today, Laura and Matt? We've got
7.
75
Yeah,
Wow,
notaries with
75
us
people.
today.
great
Yeah,
deal.
I love
So
it.
that means we should have more questions lining up. There are 75 people on this call, and I bet there are things you might be having questions about. And
Sometimes
that's
it
why
makes
we're
you,
here, and we only have about 15 minutes.
yeah, we
So,
got 15 minutes left, but sometimes it gets a little nerve-wracking thinking like, oh,
yeah.
I don't want to have to talk in front of all these people. But you
Look, we
always
had a
talk
brand
about,
new notary who did that.
yeah, you always talk about the lift because if one person is wondering, something,
Others are
chances are
too.
pretty darn good that somebody else on the call is wondering that as well. Um, Let's see, Laura. Let me ask you. Oh, Debbie's got her hand up. What's up, Debbie?
So I will piggyback on Cynthia Cadillac, who says, "What's on September 16th?" And
Oh,
I believe it's a CNTDA class.
mm,
Um, was my impression that the CNTDA coursework was mostly video and self-paced. Can you describe a little bit more about that?
yeah, great question. It is, it's video learning, it's reading a recap of those videos, it's supporting documentation, PDFs, worksheets, checklists. Laura and I are big checklist people. So we love a good checklist. So there's checklists for everything in there. It is, it started off being like really just kind of video and reading based. And what we've learned along the way is that all learn, people learn differently, you know? So we've rounded it out to where it is self-paced. You know, you could sit down and knock it out in a weekend, no problem. It's a lot of learning to do in a weekend, but you could. And, you get your test, but the point is to be able to get back in there and spend some time with all those videos and learn them. So it's not really, the amount of time it takes, but the fact that you can go back to each of those video opportunities, because the more you learn as you grow, the more those videos are going to hit you differently. And also just, Matt, can you put oh, you already did. I'll share a secret that Laura and I don't talk about much, but you guys are our TNT family. Um, when we have the webinar, it's the only time that we offer any kind of webinar special to the folks attending. We've added so much to this program and created so much value to it that it's really the only time we can offer anything and still be able to do the work that we put into it every day. Right, Laura?
Yes, and what Jen hasn't emphasized is that going along with the coursework is the engaged community where people are talking back and forth on the school platform, which we didn't have before. Also, the weekly Ask Me Anything calls and the monthly continuing education calls that include myself and Jen, as well as outside presenters. So all of that is going on as well. And what's coming up on the 16th is a webinar to describe what being a trust delivery agent is, what are the activities, what is a full trust presentation, where do you find your clients, how do you go about doing that, so that if you
How do you
walk
build
away from that,
relationships?
yes, when you walk away from that, you have a pretty good idea of what's involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody's ever walked away going, I don't know what this all mean. I mean, we pretty much tell you all about it. Does that answer your question, Debbie, or did you have some other questions about it? I know you've been thinking about it for a while. Does anybody else have any questions for us, guys? We still have 15 minutes left on the call today. Let me go to our question form here. Oh, Jerry's back. She's got a question. What can we do for you, Jerry?
I came in a little late, but you were saying something about acknowledgement and how that word was missing off of,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, specific documents. Can you just
Yes.
go over that really quickly with me? Because I think I had an issue where I notarized a document for someone, but it didn't include that. And they said instead of me acknowledging it, I was more like a witness, something like that.
Yeah. So, real quick, all 50 states have a notarial act called an acknowledgement. And within the wording, certificate wording, you need to find the word acknowledged or the phrase acknowledged to me or acknowledged before me. That's what makes it an acknowledgement. Now, even though you might have watched them sign the document, that's not what the certificate says. It says they appeared in front of you, then they told you they signed it, even if you happen to have watched it. And there's reciprocity amongst all 50 states for that. If you look for the word acknowledged and it is not there, now you start looking to see, well, is there another phrase that will tell me what it is? And that's subscribed and sworn. Subscribed and sworn, we call that a jurat, or we call it an oath upon verification, depending on your state. There isn't 50 state reciprocity. And for instance, in California, if it's not my words, then I'm not doing it. I have to replace it. My way or the highway. That's how we are over here. And all 50 states have a version of that. The third notarial act, only about half the states have, and that's the problem for the other half that don't. And that's when it's missing the word acknowledgement and it doesn't have subscribed and sworn. It might have signed before me, witnessed before me, witnessed my hand and seal, any one of those versions. And we call that signature witnessing. And that is where you're certifying you watch them sign. Doesn't require an oath. The purpose of that certificate is to verify you watch them sign. They didn't just tell you, you watched it happen. And so if you're in a state that does not have that particular notarial act, and then you get it, and that's what happened to Rwanda in Nevada, and that's what happens to me sometimes in California, I cannot just throw an acknowledgement at it. I have to find out from the preparer of the document what is necessary for its execution. For some, it doesn't matter, and they say, well, just put an acknowledgement on it. I just want to prove they signed it. But if it's a recordable document, laws and recording laws in that state may require that the notary watch. And now it becomes important. But it's not my job to know what their recording laws is. It's not my job to know what's important for that agency. My job is to bring it to their attention and say, I can't use what you gave me. And I don't even have an act that's like that. Here's what I do have, and I can explain my own acts because I'm a notary. I'm allowed to do that. And then they can tell me which one they want. So a
Awesome.
little mini lesson on notarial acts.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that help, Jerry?
It does. My whole thing is when you go to these notaries and they don't know which one they want. They have no idea whether to sign a jurat or an acknowledgement or
So there's no notarial certificate for you. And they don't know. So again, you can share with the signer, I can do this and I can do this. Which one of those will work for you? You don't know? Go call the agency who's going to get it. Call the agency who prepared the document for you. And once you get a recommendation, now you'll have a certificate to go with it.
Does that clear it up?
it does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jerry. And Veronica has her hand up. Hey, Veronica.
Hi, thank you. So I have this rollover form, that is supposed to have a notarial piece, which really is just a bunch of stuff crammed together.
Yeah.
All it says is signed and attested. Signed and attested.
Before me, signed and attested.
It doesn't say anything. It just has those 3 words.
Okay.
So is that a witness? A signature
Well,
witness?
signed and attested, if it said signed and attested before me, that can be a version of signature witnessing. I've seen it on documents in North Carolina, and Michigan doesn't even have wording for signature witnessing. They can sign and stamp the document to witness the signature. So it is possible to just have those words for signature witnessing. However, if I saw that and that's not something that rings a bell for me in my state, I'm not going to be filling that out.
So we can do signature witnessing here.
Okay. And do you have your own certificate?
Yes.
Then I'd use my own. I wouldn't use theirs. I'd replace
So I
it
just, for
with
some
my
reason,
own.
attested to me. It sounded to me like verified. Like
I
didn't
know,
that
but
was
it's
more like swearing.
So
No.
attested really means just a third party watched the signing. That's it.
yeah,
Oh,
it's okay.
okay.
It's used in that manner.
Okay, so it's signature witnessing. Okay, great. And then one last thing, I'm noticing a lot more of these hybrid certificates,
Mhm.
and I can use those here. But when it comes to counting, recording my notarizations,
Right.
let's say it's a hybrid acknowledgement and whatever
note.
else.
Yeah.
Then would I actually be charging? I don't really charge more like on a loan signing, but when I'm breaking it out, would
Right.
that be two notarial acts? So that would be two separate fees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because
would
they
be
kind
in
of,
your journal. I mean, you put acknowledgement, and then you could put in the notes oath, or you can put in the
right.
where you document your notarial acts oath.
Okay.
And you are performing two separate notarial acts. And if
And
I
one,
were charging by the act, usually I'm
right.
not, but if I am, I perform two different acts, even though it was in one certificate. In California, that's how our pricing works, is by the act,
Right. Same
by
here.
the document. Okay, because some states it's by the
By the
signature.
stamp.
Yeah, it's by stamp. And so then it doesn't matter if you had 10
Right.
acts, it's just one stamp. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks,
That's all I have.
Veronica. All right. I have one last question on our form. So this will be our last question. And this has Laura written all over it because you talk about this, Laura, in Compassionate Notary a little bit. What's the right way to handle a signing where the signer doesn't understand what they're signing?
What's the right, um, can you restate it? I'm trying to think how to
So
rephrase that.
the signer has told the notary, I guess, that there's not a lot of detail with this question. The signer has told the notary that they don't understand what they're signing. They're just signing it. How do you do anything about that as a notary? Like our job is not to know what's in the document and all those things, but if someone says to you while you're there that they don't understand it, what do you do? Can you explain it to them? Do you advise them to call somebody? What do you do
Yeah,
in this
so
case?
first of all, I don't explain it, although I could introduce it by saying, if I know what it is myself,
Hmm.
by saying, this is what this document does. All right, I can do that much. If that's not enough for the signer, then I would recommend that they talk to the person who gave it to them to sign,
Yeah.
or who's going to receive it, and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, they need to understand what they're signing.
Hmm.
That's called awareness.
Hmm.
And if they're not
Yeah.
aware of what they're signing, and you go ahead and sign and stamp, someone down the road can challenge that and blame you because you did not make sure the signer was aware and willing to sign. And that's a big deal. So don't just skip that part, guys. It's important.
Yeah. Thanks. Debbie, you got something real quick for us?
Well, I just was going to say, I ran into this 2 or 3 weeks ago. The wife, it was alone selling their home in some other state. They've just moved to California to be closer to their kids. The wife was having to show the husband, this is your name, this is how you sign. And I felt uncomfortable saying, I don't feel that Mr. So and so, is clearly understanding what's going on here. So I finished the signing, but I then called the signing service, who I think talked to title, and said, he was not competent to sign, that he really did not understand what was going on, or even what constituted a signature of his full name. And they dealt with it and actually had me go back. The wife had a power of attorney to sign for him. She just didn't really want to do all the verbiage afterward. So they sent me new docs, and I went back and signed with the wife on both lines. One is herself, and one is the POA.
She just didn't want to go through all the extra paperwork and signature.
Initially, correct.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
I
Okay.
got twice for it.
Matt, do you have something to add with that? You got a big old grin on your
I
face.
mean, that's just the things we hear out there,
Yeah, I
right? Like,
Yeah.
know. I
she
know.
had the power the whole time and put this poor man through that. Like, oh,
And
anyway,
Debbie through that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and wasted Debbie's time. Well, good for you, Debbie, for calling it out and then going back and getting it done the right way. And I hope you got 2 fees for that.
Yes, I did.
Good.
Good.
Good. Thumbs up. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we have come to the end of another Tuesday Notary Titans. I want to remind you there is a Zoom survey, and we actually read the results. And we would love for you to fill that out after today's call because our goal is to make this the best call for you and every other notary in the country. And as I do every week, I'm going to throw it to Laura to send us out with some words of wisdom.
Well, thank you very much. I like this quote, although I don't know who created it, but I like it. Every appointment is practice. Every relationship is opportunity. And every day you show up, you're building a business. There you go.
Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.